Was Michel Nostradamus truly a seer of the future as he is popularly made out to be, or was he a fraud releasing his almanacs and subsequent prophecies to receive fame and monetary gain? These questions remain in debate amongst scholars, historians, and the general public today. Though many of Nostradamus' predictions seem to have come into fruition over the years, many more have faded into obscurity or are simply disregarded. Still others have been revealed to be complete frauds written by anonymous authors who copied the tone of Nostradamus' work, clear plagiarists. The overall ambiguity and mysterious quality of his quatrains has left a lot of his writing up for interpretation. However, it should be noted that during his life, Nostradamus became the psychic advisor to the superstitious Queen Catherine de' Medici. She would often call upon him to give her horoscope, as she believed in his power wholeheartedly. Her sentiments seemed warranted when some of his more specific prophecies while he was alive actually came to pass, whether due to divine inspiration or simply a wise political intuition. The latter could possibly explain how he could predict the French Revolution years in advance, for example. But one can only wonder how his prediction of the death of King Henry in a jousting match could have been a product of any, quote, political wisdom. In the years since his death, Nostradamus has not only been credited with predicting the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, but also that of Adolf Hitler and even the terrorist attacks on 9/11. Edgar Leone, author of Nostradamus and His Prophecies, upon examining the biography of Nostradamus, presents two possible sources of inspiration for his prophecies. One, he was a well-taught scholar who was writing his prophecies as satire in order to mock the ignorant public who made up the vast majority during the time period in which he lived. Any proof for this claim comes in the form of an examination of Nostradamus' life leading up to the start of his prophetic writings. Nostradamus actually spent most of his early days studying and practicing medicine. He was also interested in astrology, but was pushed into the medical field by his family heritage. During the formative years of his life, Nostradamus was a successful and fearless doctor who would treat patients of the plague. He was well known across Europe to have cured many cases. However, after the death of his wife and two daughters to that very same disease, he received a bad reputation. How could one treat someone else's sickness when he could not even save his own family? With the loss of his family and much of his work, Michel fell into a depression, which could have possibly been the fuel to produce one of the most well-known pieces of literature in the world, his prophecies. The second possibility presented by Leone is that he genuinely believed he was seeing the future through means of some sort of divine inspiration, brought about by magic and astrology. Just as likely as the first proposition, Nostradamus was greatly interested in astrology as mentioned previously, but he was also influenced by the occult and ancient philosophers of Egypt and Greece. After the death of his family to the plague, this interest only grew tenfold. He traveled across Europe and read any book of astrology and magic he could lay his hands upon. In 1550, he released the first of his yearly almanacs, which would contain his early prophecies. He would reportedly spend hours locked away in his study, meditating over a bowl of water and herbs, invoking whatever trance-like state would bring rise to his visions. Following the great success of his almanacs, Nostradamus decided to release what would become the most famous book of prophetic writing till this day, his prophecies. Written in quatrains of 4 rhyming lines, the prophecies is still in print today and has been since his death nearly 500 years ago. Thanks for watching.